Okay, so here we are in Meisha's car, and I'm going to be interviewing Meisha and Elena and Tilly. Okay, so how would you define empathy?
I would define empathy as understanding the feelings that someone else is feeling.
Beautiful. Okay, how would you define empathy?
I think of empathy as like like understanding how someone is feeling, but also like feeling that way for them. Like it's not just you understand how they feel, but like that's like you kind of feel with them, you know.
Yeah. Tilly, how would you define empathy?
I think to me it's obviously about understanding, but it's like sometimes you can't understand, so I feel like it's also at the same time just being there for someone and being there and
Yeah.
just being someone to talk to.
Okay. What's a time that you had empathy for somebody else?
A time I have had empathy for somebody else is like when my brother fell. I felt bad for him because I hurt.
One time I had empathy for someone was my friend when she fell and face planted in front of some other hikers on a trail. So yeah, I definitely had some empathy for her there.
You could like understand the embarrassment she was
Yeah.
feeling and kind of felt that for her.
Yeah.
Probably when there's someone, especially when I don't know someone and like I know they're going through something, and I feel like just like being there but also not like contributing to whatever they're going through, or I feel like
So would you say that like it's easier to have empathy for someone that you don't know then? Or-
No.
No? Easier to have it for
Yeah.
someone you don't know? Yeah, that makes sense. Okay, what's a time that somebody had empathy for you and how did it make you feel?
A time that someone had empathy for me was when I failed my physics test. And she my friend really made me feel better because she failed.
She failed it too.
So she failed it too. So
So she like
she
understood
really
how you
she
felt.
understood how I felt because she failed it too. So she knows what I'm going through.
She was like,
We
yeah.
empathize for ourselves.
No, I'm gonna have to go with a similar thing, but in algebra.
Wait, I'm gonna pause you real
Yeah.
quick. That was an interesting thing you said, that you had empathy for each other and also yourselves, because that's something that I'm trying to explore, is like the idea of having empathy for yourself. Okay, sorry, go Elena.
So, mine is similar, but with algebra. And I got a D+ on my test, and my friend got an NC. So we were both kind of like in it together and like empathizing with each other for like failing our test.
I think it's when my buds here were there for me when stuff at home was going wrong, and you guys were just here, and thank you. No joking.
So it sounds like a lot of the time it's easier to have empathy for someone if you are also going through what they're going through, so like you can actually understand it. But it's possible to have empathy even when you don't understand it necessarily.
Yeah,
Cool.
kind of like when you said it's easier to have empathy for someone who you know. Not necessarily. I think it has more to do with if you understand or if you've also been there.
Yeah. Okay. This is a little bit of a harder question, but do you think that you have empathy for people that have committed crimes?
Committed crimes.
Yeah, so this is people that are like, that actually have committed crimes. So not necessarily incarcerated people, because, you know, that's not always that they actually have committed a crime. So people that have committed crimes.
I think, I mean, even if they have committed a crime, like, they're still a person and a human being. So, like, if something really bad happened to them, like their mom died or something, I would empathize. Like, I would feel bad for them, too, just because they're a human being. And yeah.
I would say yes, because everyone has like their own situations, and like a lot of people like from the start are just like in really bad places, and that's not necessarily their fault. Even if they committed a crime, like like a lot of their life may have like played a role in that. And I think, of course, they should hold some responsibility, but yeah, I think it's definitely important to empathize with them for like the things that they've been through that may have caused them to do that.
Yeah.
I think it really depends because sometimes, yeah, like that's okay, but there's also some like really bad people out there, and I like don't give a shoot because they deserve it. So, yeah.
What you guys were saying was interesting about how like empathizing with like the things they've gone through, and it's not as common at all, but like there are people that have committed crimes that like don't have a terrible backstory, so like would you still have empathy for those people?
I think it just depends what they did. Like,
So
if
Like
it's,
the
if they
severity.
like, yeah, if it was just like small crimes, then I would. But if they like, you know, went on a killing spree, maybe not so much.
Yeah, also maybe,
Understand.
And like if they didn't feel bad about it, then not, you know.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
their
different.
reaction to it.
there's
kind of
other
plays a
factors
role.
too, like mental illness. And
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So like if they didn't have empathy, then you couldn't have empathy for them.
Mhm.
Like if they didn't feel sorry.
Yes.
Okay. What role do you think empathy plays in the world, and why do you think it's important?
So I think empathy plays a big role in the world because it's hard to like live with addicts, you know.
Yeah.
You have to like understand people's feelings, and that's a way to, so it's important. Why?
Why do you have to understand?
Because then if you don't empathize with people, then you never like know how they're feeling and put yourself in that position. I don't know.
So you can't connect with them?
Yes.
Too bad. I'm going.
Okay,
Um,
Elena's going.
So I think it's really important because empathy is kind of just like what connects everyone. Like if none of us had empathy, like we wouldn't be able to like all work together and like help each other and help other people, because like if we're not empathizing with other people, then we have no reason to help them. If we don't help them, then like we all kind of just are doing our own thing, and like we're not, I don't know, united. And I don't know, we should all just like work together and like
I kind of agree with you guys in some ways because like I feel like empathy is big, but it also ties into a lot of selfishness because like in some ways people have empathy, but like for like 9/11 people had a lot of empathy everywhere in the world and stuff, but I feel like that's because it had nothing to do with like they related to it and it was affecting them too. So I feel like other places around the world when we haven't had more empathy, it's because it doesn't affect us. And
You think people are empathetic for selfish reasons then? Like,
sometimes
so that they have other people to connect with that are going through the same thing?
I feel like sometimes, yeah.
Yeah. I could definitely see that. But you still believe in, like, true empathy that's
Yeah.
not...
Well, there's good people in my group.
Yeah. Do you have empathy for my class that has to watch this video?
I
Yeah.
have a
Yes,
lot of
I
empathy.
do.
I'm so
a
sorry.
lot.
I do because
Yeah.
Elena's here
Hey.
and like just looking.
Hey, calm down.
Okay.
Whoa, that was
Okay.
aggressive.
Thank you for...
Oh.
Thank you for participating in the interview. I love you all.
Love you
Here's the
too.
money.
Love you.
Where's the
Josh.
money? Yeah.
You don't get any money. Okay. This interview is with my mom, Tina.
Hello.
Okay. How do you define empathy?
To me, empathy is when you have an understanding of what someone is going through, like emotionally and mentally, without like having to go through it necessarily yourself. So you have this like connection and understanding for what it's like.
Does
You
it-
could have gone through
Yeah, does it help if you've gone through it?
Yes, but the circumstances could still be different. But yeah, it definitely can help if you've gone through it.
What's a time that you've had empathy for somebody else?
Well, I mean, it's kind of my job because I'm a psychologist, so all the time. But
Can you think of an example that doesn't break HIPAA to talk about?
I mean, I probably shouldn't with clients because
Yeah.
but
It's like from your personal life.
with you, I mean, you get horrible migraines, and I have great empathy for that because I have horrible migraines. So yeah, I get what that's like. What else? My mom recently was going through a thing where her sister, I mean, I don't even have sisters, but her sister was really sick and almost dying, and I had a lot of empathy for just the emotional stress and pain she was going through, but I don't have a sister, don't quite know what that experience was like, but I had a lot of deep empathy for that.
What's a time that somebody had empathy for you, and how did it make you feel?
We were just talking about this.
We were.
Because we share many similarities with our bodies. That's not distracting.
What?
My dad is stretching in the background.
Are you recording or something?
Yes. So, yeah, because I'm all injured and my body's falling apart, and you're just talking to me about the empathy that you have for me when you're injured, and knowing what that's like to not be able to do stuff that you want to do, or like when I went to a surgeon recently and she just instantly got it, like without me having to go into all sorts of detail, and I was like, oh, someone finally understands.
Yeah, someone finally understands.
Yeah.
How did that make you feel?
So like seen and heard in a way that I hadn't been before.
Do you have empathy for people that have committed crimes? And for this question, I always want to specify not like necessarily incarcerated people, because we all know that not everyone that's incarcerated has committed a crime, and not everyone that's committed a crime is incarcerated. So just people that actually have committed a crime.
I mean, I don't currently know anyone who's committed a crime, but I feel like
in general, then.
in general, yes, because I understand the circumstances that could have led to someone to have like challenging life circumstances that may have put them in a situation where they felt like they didn't have a chance, or there weren't other options for them. And we live in a society that really sucks and doesn't create fair options for everyone. It doesn't create the same opportunities for everyone. So I feel like I absolutely could feel that for, like, especially people who might be in a really impoverished, crappy environment that, you know, like, there wasn't another way out for them. Doesn't necessarily mean, like, I'm gonna love that person and want to be around them, but I could have empathy for how they got to that situation.
Featuring dog noises.
I have empathy, buddy. I know what it's like.
What role do you think empathy plays in the world, / why do you think it's important?
I don't feel like it plays enough role in the world. I look at the state of our country. If there was more empathy, we would not be so divisive, and at the current state that we are at, there would be more hearing each other and trying to understand each other's viewpoints.
I don't think you can be divisive if you have empathy for someone that's on, like, the other side, and there isn't the other side anymore.
Yeah, I don't feel like people try to have empathy. I don't feel, because if you have empathy, you're trying to listen and understand, and I don't think people try to. I mean, outside of the U.S., in some places, sure, but there's so many. Yeah, the U.S. is a mess. There is none.
Why is empathy important?
It's how we connect with each other. It's our humanity. If there was no empathy, where's our humanness? How do you God, you have a soul to like. That's why.
Good answer.
Yeah.
Thanks for letting me interview you.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, and I asked this question to the last people I interviewed because we had a really funny and kind of bad video because we were all laughing in somebody's car. Do you have empathy for my class that has to watch these videos?
Oh God, you're showing this to your class. Great. Hey,
It
class.
might be.
Lovely. I do have empathy for them. I think that crosses over into sympathy.
Okay.